Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's Tuesday. It's cloudy outside. It must be dark side of the rain day. But wait, there's just a little bit more. There was a cloud hovering over the NFL in a particular region known as Las Vegas. Oh, that's such a bad, bad cloud. Thunder, lightning, Gruden grinding. My God, Johnny, but we're back here. Doc Lee's in here, the podcasting beast with the Professor John Gotti, the King of RG, the Troll Master of the analyzing nature, the conqueror of his own fate, the Terminator, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the cleaner, but he can't clean this crap.
I
Thank
am no
God, John
Tony
Gruden.
Dungy.
Yes, Lord, for the rest of our days.
I am no Tony Dungy. I am the best podcast machine, though. Least hype machine. Always tranquilo. Doc El Idolo. The Gruden grinded to a halt.
It's almost like bikers, bombs, and Gruden grinding.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
my
it's
goodness.
just apropos.
Yeah, yeah,
Dark
yeah.
side of
So,
the ring, dark side of Raider Nation. I mean, jeez. It's a lot.
perfect storm.
But
But
there's
just in case
one
you haven't,
thing that shines some light upon us this day, folks. We are only 8 listens away before we hit 10K. So tomorrow we will be celebrating hitting 10,000 listens on Anchor. We just want to let you know that we appreciate you all. And Dr. Prof love you all as well too. Even our haters.
I'm gonna say, oh yeah, I'm gonna second that. I'm gonna say that Doc and Prof will be celebrating today, but we're gonna have you join in. That's right, you, the people, join in tomorrow for the celebration. But the party's gonna go all night long. But anyway,
Yeah, he had to get a tech for that. That was an extra thing.
I mean, I could have went all night long,
And
all
it would have been
night,
fine, but you did it Ric Flair wise,
all
and
night long.
that's
I got you.
gonna yeah,
They want you all night long. Okay, so I gotta change the way I. Okay, I'll take that
yeah,
technical. That's
yeah.
fine. That's fine. So anyway, Jon Gruden, just in case you haven't noticed, Jon Gruden has resigned as the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders after signing a ridiculous contract to come out of the booth and into the front office where he had control with Mike Mayock, right? He had control of player personnel. He had a gazillion dollar contract. I think he still had a couple years, good amount of years left on his contract. Um, but it's all good. Raiders are gonna go ahead and get their interim head coach going. I don't want to destroy his name,
Yikes.
but I believe he's their special teams coach.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go ahead and see if I can get the pronunciation. I think it was Bisaccia, Rich Bisaccio, or I think it's Bisaccia, um, but I'm not 100% sure um, what the heck those emails contained. But yeah, it had to be rough, Johnny. It had to
This
be
was all about image. And we keep talking about this when it comes to, people doing things in the past and it gets digged up. Like, this is all about image.
rough.
Because
Yeah,
it turned, I mean, we kind of see the same thing with the Jaguars. Of course, not
everybody.
in this particular situation, but, the microscope being on Urban Myers. But with
Hmm.
Jon Gruden, though, like, this is really, really bad.
I mean, all right. So and somebody
and
posted
it's
this
only really,
yesterday.
really bad too, if you really think about it, because of whom he was saying those comments towards.
Right. I mean, which so here's the thing, and somebody did post this yesterday, and I find it to be quite interesting because, of course, you always have right, middle, and left, right? You got the people on the left who are like, oh man, John Gruden's a great coach,
I am no John Gruden.
John Gruden's a great coach. He made a terrible mistake, whatever. Then you got the people in the middle and like, who? Actually, I would say the people on the left are probably like, yeah, get him out of here. He's got to go, right? The people in the middle are like, oh, he's such a great coach, though. I mean, that was from 2011. Oh my God, who
Yeah,
cares
well,
now?
and that's why I was talking about Tony Dungy, and that
Right.
was what he was talking about during I want to say halftime
hmm But then
of
you got the
the.
people on the right, though, Johnny. The
Mhm.
people on the right are the people, right? You talk about left and right, quote unquote, wing people. The people on the right are like, how far does personal privacy go? And, this is from 2011. He could have changed. And, how, you know, oh, all this extra stuff, right? And I mean, one person did post, and I found it ironic, right? That we're talking about, not only racist remarks, but obviously sexist remarks and remarks towards gender and homosexuals, right?
Sexuality, sexuality
So
is
it's funny
prevalent.
because, hey, we were they used another like I think they said homophobic
Yeah.
something or another. Um, it's funny
Well,
because number
yeah.
one in the off season, what do we have? Right, we had Carl Nassib,
Yep.
right, come out as and what team does he play for, Johnny? What team does he play for?
I mean, he
He
plays for those
plays for the
Raiders.
Las Vegas Raiders. So it's like, my goodness. And then it's like you look at it and you're like, okay, um, obviously he's had African American players, he's had, different people on his staff, right? And we're
I mean,
sitting
that's saying
there.
it lightly. He has African American players.
That is saying like
That's a they're the majority of players in the league.
that's why he had to go. And it's very unfortunate, but I think the main point is it's like I wonder what, and this is where I come in. Like, I wonder what made these emails come out at this particular time, right now in 2021. Like that's the part that bothers me a little bit. Like, why right now in 2021 do these emails come out instead of, you know, 2011, 2012, 2013? You know what I mean? He's making all this money at ESPN. Like, he's doing all these great things. You got Gruden grinders, riders, Spider Y2 Banana. It doesn't exist if these emails come out when they
Nope.
need to, right? Did he stop paying a bill? Like, did he overstep? You know what I mean? Did the Raiders say, "Hey, we really want to get out of this contract. Let's see if we can dig up some things on old Johnny."
I don't know about the Raiders part, although that sounds real Houston Texans to me right there. But I don't know. I don't know a reason why. I can't even foretell,
Mm-hmm.
what led to this, I guess.
Right.
But at the same time, like, we're in 2021
We
and
are.
everyone is digging everything on each other. So,
And
I
it's funny
mean,
because we just talked about the whole Dave Chappelle skit,
yep,
right? The whole thing. He's getting canceled, and it's funny because, you know, a lot of people were saying, "Hey, cancel," like they want Netflix to cancel the Dave Chappelle show, right? The Dave Chappelle special, right? Obviously, the Raiders said, "Hey, we're not even gonna take no chances. We're gonna figure out a way to work this out." And John Gruden says, "You know what? I'll do this for you. I'll I'll resign."
I don't think it was that.
You
I
think
think, yeah, they said, "Hey,
you
like,
got one
we
way or
want to
the other?
fire you, but like, we want you to leave, gracefully."
I
So,
don't even think they asked. I said, "This is what you're gonna do. You're gonna resign tonight."
mm, I
'Cause that's
understand
usually how
why
those
you say.
conversations go.
I don't know, man.
That's
I don't
usually how those
know.
conversations
I
go.
think they
Hey,
worked out a deal where he can get a certain stipend if he resigns versus getting
like a
fired.
severance, a little
Yeah.
severance kind of thing. That's always tricky. And it's funny because a lot of people, for example, with the Dave Chappelle situation, they want the Netflix to pull the plug on the special, but it's like the real change would come if you felt so strongly about this special, you would cancel your Netflix subscription. right? If people felt so strongly about John Gruden, let's say he didn't resign, he didn't get fired, you would stop going to the games. But guess what?
You
Ain't nobody
still,
gonna stop going to ain't nobody gonna stop
nope.
going to no games. Ain't nobody gonna the press box is gonna be full, concessions gonna be,
Here's the worst part about all this, and this is why I enjoy just being on Twitter and just watching the insanity.
watch some
As
things
soon as the
burn, yeah.
news came out, the
Mm-hmm.
first thing I'm seeing people write, because the NFLPA president
Hmm.
was the person, the
Right.
subject matter of that
Demorius,
email.
yeah.
People are talking about, well, now they did this with Gruden. What are they going to do about AV? And it
Antonio
just,
Brown?
yes.
What did Antonio Brown do?
He had a domestic issue.
I thought he went to court for that already. That was last season. He went to court. I mean, they found it to be
This is Twitter, Doc. This is Twitter.
wow.
Exactly.
Why would Antonio Brown come into this? Because he scored a touchdown and people were mad?
Pretty much.
That doesn't make any sense. Like that's
I
like
know.
it's like hey, why don't we I don't know. Like I could see if they was like, what about Richard Sherman? That would have made more sense. That was like 2 days ago, right? What about,
Yeah. Yeah,
remember
but
hey,
Richard
hey,
Sherman's
remember
not
that
making the
time
news for his play right now.
remember that time Adrian Peterson beat his son with a switch? Oh my god, like come on. How about that time Ben Roethlisberger raped that girl? Remember that? We don't
Oh, oh.
no, you gotta stop right there. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That's so. That's so. I get it. I get it. Twitter, that's a interesting case to bring poor Antonio Brown into the mix when he's been behaving himself, playing football, and staying focused. But you want to change the subject from John Gruden, who did send emails in 2011. And again, that's my only gripe. Why did it take 10 years for these emails to come out? I don't like that part, but
Because everything's all about getting the most advantage. And it's all about shock factor too. Think about it.
mm, I mean, at the end of the day, he could have probably not resigned. He probably could have came up and like, "Hey, I was stupid 10 years ago." Like, you know what I mean? Like,
He already said that and he still
yeah,
resigned.
yeah. I mean, hey, I was stupid 10 years
Like
ago,
now
and
everyone's saying, well, what else did he say? Like
right,
what
and
else
that's the part.
did he say? Like what other
Hmm.
dirt they have on him that led to him to resigning? People aren't happy with the fact that he just resigned. Now people want to know
Right.
what else is out there.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But Johnny, I mean, we didn't come here to
And
talk
just
all about
for
Gruden, though.
people to understand, Doc and Prof don't condone any of the actions that he written in that email
No, and I didn't even see
whatsoever.
everything that he wrote, so it's like I can't.
And
I
that's
mean,
the worst part because we have only seen snippets.
because like it could be, the worst things I've ever wrote, or it could be a Dave Chappelle, a Dave Chappelle skit.
We have
Like
no
no
clue.
idea. You know what I'm saying? So I have no idea. I'm sure it's bad. I mean, I don't know how bad. Of course, we don't know like how hot the pepper is, right? Until we taste it. So until we see it, I mean, it's all speculation. He resigned, hopefully, hoping that it will go away. I don't expect to see him on ESPN or anything else.
No, he
Yeah,
might be going away for a while.
yeah, he's done. So, but Johnny, let's take a quick break and let's come back with this dark side of the ring. And we're back with the scheduled programming. We got Dark Side of the Ring, Bikes, Bombs, and Bedlam. Johnny K9, again, another person that Doc's never heard of
But
ever in
you've
his
seen
life,
him on WWE television. It's
possibly.
it's one of those things where, I mean, we talked about like Iron Mike Sharp, like we know the name.
Johnny.
And we know who he is. Like Johnny Kanon, you know who he is, but you don't know of him because you've seen him, but he was essentially an enhancement talent on wrestling.
Jobber. Before enhancement talent, there was jobbers, ladies and
Of
gentlemen. He
course.
was one.
Well, I mean, now enhancement talent's the way that they call it now, but before
Makes
it
sense.
was jobbers.
I get it. Um, Really interesting double life again. Double
Hmm.
life seems to be the theme. I think they probably should have threw what was it, Grizzly Smith in this particular portion of
No,
the
Grizzly Smith
season.
was fine exactly where he was.
Is this double life stuff is really rough. But let's talk about this here, Johnny. What the absolute bleep? It seemed like he was a nice guy, just wrapped up in the wrong crowd. He just couldn't.
I mean, what was the term? The term that we always like to hear, or we always hear, is you could take someone out the streets, but you can't take the streets out of the person.
Yeah, but this was so weird though, because like I didn't feel like he was like that. I think he might have let his size right dictate how I don't want to say tough he was, but kind of he used his size to kind of guide his life, so to speak. Like, hey, I'm a big guy, man. I can do anything. But everybody else is like, yo, this guy is so nice and soft and teddy
Yeah.
bear like, right? He would give
I
you the
mean,
shirt off his
he's
back
a
or the
great
tank
guy.
top off his
He's just the
back.
person who just made a lot of really bad decisions, and it went from pretty bad decisions to, oh my goodness, this is pretty terrible, to why would you
Mm.
do that?
Well, I don't want to jump too far. I mean, we'll go over the story really quickly here. So, like you said, he was an enhancement talent in the WWF at the time.
Yep,
This is what late '70s, early '80s, right?
this was the 80s, I
'80s.
believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought I heard it 1979 somewhere in there, but '80s going into the '90s, in which obviously the territories were starting to die, and you start getting to the WWF, and that's pretty much what it is. So he was an enhancement talent. He was a jobber,
Hmm.
but he said everybody, like you said, everybody knew who he was, right? He would come in, he would drop to his knees and do the X, right? I don't remember it, but I'm pretty sure if I saw it,
Like, it's
it
it's deeply like in the recesses of your brain,
was
like, and it's because he didn't win. It's just why
right,
you don't remember. Like, Doc
right.
remembers winners. He don't remember losers,
Especially if they got like handled
especially if it's his
easily.
flag football team.
Wow, wow. That's a technical right there. I can't believe you just said that. Can't believe you would stoop that low.
Well, maybe if the team decides they want to execute better, I mean, you would remember
Oh
them a little
my
bit more often. Come
god,
on,
that's
man. I'll accept the
terrible.
tech, but you have to love it.
Oh god, that's
He's
terrible.
like,
I'm
I
sorry,
can't
ladies.
say anything because they might be listening.
Right.
So.
I'm sorry, ladies, that he did that. We'll work. We're working on executing. Don't worry. So, anywho, Mr. Johnny K9 didn't. I'm not sure where to even go with that because it's like, all right, so he finally gets an opportunity, right, with Jim Cornette, and I'm skipping ahead because, I mean, it was a lot about, jobbing, and you know, nobody wants to talk about a jobber, right? That's not
Yeah.
why you do Dark Side of the Ring. You don't do Dark Side of the Ring to talk about a jobber. You do Dark Side of the Ring because eventually he gets
Well,
an
I mean, he
opportunity,
got to start, from the he got to start within WWE. Then he did some stuff in the Indies, but he wasn't really
right?
making a lot of money. Then he got the opportunity when he met Jim Cornette to
Smokey.
join Smoky Mountain Wrestling,
Hmm.
and that's when he really had his big break.
But while he's doing this, he's like, what was it? I think at that particular time he was working with. Didn't say who. I think at the beginning it was just an organized organization.
Oh no, they said it, but we're not going to say it on air because
Okay, yeah, I
yeah,
didn't. I didn't
that.
hear.
Oh no, they said it. It's just not. We're
They said a few. That's what I'm saying. They said a few
a
different
quick
things.
disclaimer, folks: the debate amongst friends don't support any organized crime.
Right. Yeah. In the beginning they didn't say who. And then later on he
No, no,
joined.
no, no, no,
I
no. That part was hilarious, by the way. So It was uh, Johnny Canaan's widow who said,
Mm.
I don't want to say the name, but then the police detective in the very
Police.
next shot
Okay.
said the name, and I'm like, okay, we just throwing it out there.
Throwing it out there. And my it is possible that my Spectrum app was doing something weird. It might have skipped past it
Mhm.
because it did do that a couple times. But so okay, so they did say the name, so I missed it. So he's helping them. He's shaking people down. He's taking his cut, and then he would go on about his business. Obviously, he's a big guy, so people probably gave the money easily, or maybe he took a finger or something. We'll leave that up to speculation, but his wife's like, what the bleep, right? But all this time, he's in Smoky, right? He out there in the Smoky territory,
Yep.
wrestling, and they're and Jim Cornette's putting him over,
Big.
right?
So much
Put-
so, and of course, this was a big part of the episode. Randy Macho Man Savage
right.
was
But
like,
even before that, he put him over the other
he
baby
put him over,
face,
yeah, he put him over, crap, now I forgot the guy's name. Bob Armstrong.
Bob Armstrong, yeah. And I mean,
And that
that
was
was
on his
huge,
first night, which was pretty big
right?
because they wanted to build him as, a monster heel.
And what do they say? Nobody beats Bob Armstrong,
Yeah. I mean, for those that don't understand, like in the territory days,
right?
when they have their ace, they barely lose. And when they do lose, it's a big deal. Nowadays,
Right,
you don't get that with modern
right.
wrestling a lot.
So here we have it. He beat Bob Armstrong, and then
Hmm.
he goes out there, and obviously shakes some people down. He would get 20, 30,000, and then that's when he joins the biker gang,
Yes.
right? I don't. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't matter. We don't have to say the biker name either. He joins this biker gang, and I think shortly after he joins the gang, they make him a leader in another location where I guess he's local, right?
Yeah, they let him be the president of a local chapter of the motorcycle club, and he opened it in his hometown. Which I mean, I feel like that was mistake number one.
Big time. So obviously, it kind of goes on. The story kind of goes on. That's when he goes and beats Macho Man clean, right? But it was Macho Man's idea.
It
It
was.
wasn't clean, by the way. It wasn't clean. It
No,
was
it
some
wasn't clean at
interference.
all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, it wasn't even free. It was just like he beat him. But you saw Macho Man hit the elbow. At least Macho Man hit that flying elbow. At least, right? That was good to see. But he did say, "I'm gonna put the kid over," which is awesome, right?
Which is something Macho Man has done a lot
Which is perfect.
in his
Yeah,
career.
right. So
I
then
mean,
we
not
get back
that
to Johnny,
brother person.
right? Who never put anybody over. Yeah, he wasn't trying to put anybody over. So then he go back and he's going back with a biker club, and it's this story that sticks out where he's trying to go into this club with his jacket on, right?
Hmm.
And the club owner's like, oh, we don't allow people with colors, like no gang colors, no biker colors, whatever. So they get kicked out. The police called, right? They're trying to figure out like, hey, why can't we come in? Or, I done told you why you can't come in. I don't know why you still trying to come in. You gotta get your little cheeks out of here. And then somewhere on the lines, there was a discussion about a bomb being planted, right? Somewhere
Well, it
along the line,
was retribution for, feeling disrespected because the club doesn't allow people to come in with colors, and colors essentially being,
yeah, it could be biker, it could be gang, it could be really any colors.
yes.
I mean, I didn't find that to be, any problem with that. I mean, it's their rules, it's their rules. So somewhere along the line, the conversation with this bomb goes from blowing up the club to blowing up the police station. I don't know where the mix-up happened. I don't know. I know there was a
Oh,
change of
someone,
plan.
it wasn't, no, it was just a change of plans, like at the time. So the person decided to just
Change it.
change his mind, like at the very last second. Like, oh, well, let's not do it to the club, let's do it to the police station. And Johnny Canine
That didn't
had
even make
no clue.
that didn't even make any sense. That's dumb. It didn't even make any sense. But anyway, police station gets blown up. Obviously, Johnny and one other person, I believe, are brought in, and does the one number one rule to any, you know, any organization, period,
Hmm.
and that's no talking to the police, no what they would call snitching, no ratting, no none of that.
None of that.
Um, yeah, you just gotta. That's the one bad, I would say, not bad, but one negative part about being in that kind of situation is that, like, if you're the guy, if you're the fall guy, then you're the fall guy. Like that's just it. So um, it sucks, but he wound up going to jail, I believe. But then I don't think, I forget how long it was for that particular time. But his wife was getting threatened on the street, like, "Hey, you know, we're worried for your safety. There's been a hit put out on Johnny because they think he's a rat. So you're in danger." So she had to flee and run to Vancouver, right? Johnny served 33 months, and this is what I'm saying. It seems so crazy because this is like early 2000s, and I'm thinking that this is like all in the 90s, right?
Nope.
This is freaking 2002. So she divorced him and moved to Vancouver. Obviously, he got out, and then he went to Vancouver. But you know, after a while, it's like, what does he do? Right? He's a wrestler, right? He's former. I'm just gonna say organization, right?
Hmm.
Who's really gonna mess with him? He does a couple of commercials, does a couple movies, right? He's according to her, he wasn't good at it, right? So then police, right, pick him up on a freaking murder, double murder in 1998, right? 4 years prior, 98, out of nowhere. And then he's in jail for what, 20 months, I believe it was, or yeah, it was 20 months. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, dang, how you hold somebody in 20 months for a murder that you don't even know if they really committed it or not? But it's like, I think the other person sued. They didn't really mention if Johnny sued, but I'm just like, what the bleep is going on here? So he gets out again, right? And then he joins another gang. Johnny joins another gang.
And that's where I went, why would you do something like that?
And she said the same thing, like, you're going down the same path, right? So he joins this gang, and then I mean, the crazy part about him, you know, kind of lacing the marijuana to, I guess, have it sell for more money was kind of ridiculous. Spraying water and Coca Cola on the marijuana to make it seem heavier. That part was pretty interesting, but I'm just sitting there like, why in the world would somebody who, you've been a part of two organizations, and maybe he just, wanted to be, important. Maybe he wanted to be um, someone who's, looked up for something. Maybe he wanted to, I'm not even sure. I can't even come up with anything, but my goodness. So with this particular gang, and I believe this was the UN gang, in which, again, not only the marijuana, the weed, but apparently in 2008, there was a botched hit by the gang, and which caused the death of an innocent man. And of course, Johnny was arrested as his wife was 9 months pregnant at the time,
Yeah.
and that was pretty much the last time they saw each other. He pled guilty to conspiracy to commit murder, and the charge of first degree was actually applied. He served 4 years and got released to a halfway house in Toronto, in which he was supposed to get released 6 weeks later. However, shortly thereafter, the police showed up to the house where his family lived, and they advised that he had passed away. And that's where they're talking about a lot of speculation, saying, "Hey," and it's funny, not funny like haha, but karma and
Funny,
like ir-
ironically.
ironically, right? Like before they even said it, I was sitting in the kitchen, I was drinking my coffee, and I was like, "Let me guess, heart attack." And then the guy goes, "Yeah, he died of a heart attack." Oh my god, that's so clear. Like obviously, that's what he died of, right? So it's like, what the bleep? You could have, you could have gave me something different. Like it was so
Nope.
clear. It was almost like a second later. It was like, let me take a sip. Heart attack. Yeah, he died of a heart attack. Oh my god, that's so cliche of you to say that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's so cliche. Like so I believe when what the wife was saying about them scraping the lungs and all other stuff. Like I kind of believe that because it was so cliche. Like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, the big wrestler dies of a heart attack. Like, no, no, but we'll leave it as speculation, right? So he died of a heart attack based on what they say. Some people say it was a hot dose of drugs from people that did want him to die, and then of course, the wife said that he was maced. I've never really heard of someone dying from mace, but I mean, I could be completely
I
wrong. I have
mean,
no
respiratory
idea.
system could be completely shot.
Compromise.
You could have
Ye-
certain allergens to certain chemicals within
Okay.
it as well too. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and then I guess we had a little bit of comic relief at the end as the I believe his last name was Demori. I can't remember his first name.
Scott Demore.
Scott Demore. There you go. Laughed at the headline in the newspaper that read, "Natural causes succeed where mob hitmen and gangsters failed. Johnny K9 is dead." And he said, if Johnny could write his own headline about his death, ha ha, that would be it. And that was the end of the mother flipping episode. My goodness, it was good to see Lance Storm. You know, obviously Chris Jericho. The dishwashing story was pretty funny.
Yep. Also, the Scott Demore story about him
Oh,
getting
the
shorted.
yeah, sure did. That was pretty good. Yeah, it was some good stuff, man. Like I said, I knew it couldn't just be about a jobber, right?
No.
Um, it wouldn't be. But these double lives, man. Oh my goodness, like.
Well,
Whew.
and people don't have a lot of, I mean, and of course Doc didn't know about it, of course, but people don't get a lot of interest in these type of stories because they're not,
Hmm.
headline marquee people. But
Right.
if you really enjoy learning about, so many different wrestlers and their unique backstories and what they've accomplished and the wild and outrageous stories that they've done, like this series
Hmm.
help you understand that further.
Right. Absolutely.
But because he's not a, name brand, so to speak, people aren't very receptive of that, which is kind of a shame, in my opinion.
It is. It is. It is pretty sad. And again, can't wait to see if I can find some more information on it because, like I said, this is a pretty good one. I might have to go back and watch that match versus Macho Man if I can find it, or maybe check out maybe he had a dark match or something that I just didn't see, or whatever the case
Hmm.
may be. But obviously, next week's episode, right, is the one that a
Oh,
lot of
this
us have
is
been.
this is the one.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one. Yes, this is the one. Luna Vachon, the many faces of Luna Vachon. Um, very, very interested to see this one. Might have to watch it twice just to make sure. But Johnny, anything else from this episode that caught your eye?
No, I kind of like the fact that it was someone whom I wasn't that familiar with, actually.
Right, right.
I remember reading about it probably around the time of his death, but that was
Hmm.
about it. So, I mean, I enjoyed it a lot, and I walked away from it just learning a little bit more. I mean, he was obviously someone who was, highly well liked in the locker rooms, at least according to the people talking about his stories. But he's just
Hmm.
a person who just took the wrong road a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you think about this season so far. You got Brian Pillman, Nick Gage, the Collision in Korea, Ultimate Warrior, Grizzly Smith, as I mentioned before, the Dynamite Kid, the Plane Ride from Hell, Chris Canyon. You got FMW, and now we
Hmm.
got Johnny K9. Like, I mean, I'll be honest. Outside of of course, the Ultimate Warrior and Brian Pillman, I mean, that was pretty much it for me. Um, and Chris Canyon. But even then, I didn't know everything that Chris Canyon went through.
Through, yep.
So it's all been an eye-opening experience. I'm hoping that they continue to do this. with more stories again that kind of go over and cover things that you just don't know.
Hmm.
But we had a great. Uh, we also come back tomorrow where we'll have hit 10K and talk about this Monday night football uh, finish, as well as our normal Wednesday edition where we go over the new power rankings.
Yep.
But
We had
Johnny,
some movements.
yeah, big time movements. I know the people heard this show on their favorite podcast platform, but if they didn't, they can always go to www.hardtimes. Nope. Oh yeah. It's www.debateamongstfriends.com to listen to this episode as well as all the previous. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as we go over that Monday night showdown between the Ravens and the Indianapolis Colts. But you'll come back here and we'll definitely have more of the news, the analysis, and the reads.
I am Doc's keeper.